So are you a college graduate looking to get into your next 40 years of sitting behind a desk, sitting in a little white cubicle and have some annoying boss you around? You're not? Shocker. Well, then this video is for you. This is about how to get a successful long career in the welding industry. So my name is Swaney. I'm a first shift coordinator here at Western Welding Academy. All right, so the first thing you're gonna need to do to get into a career in welding, right, because there is a barrier to entry, is you have to have the actual skill and the knowledge to get into it, right? So that's gonna be either your trade school or I guess a shop that takes pity on you and allows you to learn, right? Probably the best option there is gonna be going to a trade school, learning from them. It's gonna give you the highest chance of being successful because you're gonna learn all of the little things that you would learn over a 10-year career in about 6 months. Another resource if you're still in high school is start getting those fundamentals and the groundwork early. So if your high school offers a welding class or agriculture class, definitely something to check out. You can get those fundamentals so you can start building off that. So when day one you show up to a welding school, you're a little bit more prepared. Not that you need to be to get into a welding school, but it'll just help you advance a little bit quicker. So the next thing is going to be not being overly selective. Now, if you go out there and you try to get the dream job immediately, it's going to be pretty hard, right? If you want to become an astronaut, you don't immediately step onto the moon, right? So you have to go out there, you have to get the jobs that are not exactly what you're looking for, but they build the career or build the resume into what you're looking for. So the first jobs might be lower pay, they might be worse hours, dirtier work environments, and maybe not as close to home as you want it to be, but that's just going to build your resume. So when you do find that dream job, it's going to allow you the experience and the knowledge to get it. So something going along with that, my first job into the welding industry, I actually used a cup wheel, a wire cup wheel, and I cleaned rust off I-beams, right? I knew the path that I wanted to go, and the way to get there was just to get my foot in the door. So I actually cleaned rust, and then after hours, they allowed me to practice welding, and so I'd bring my welds into the welders, and they'd critique it for me. And obviously, nobody wants to be cleaning rust off I-beams, but if you have a goal, and you have a path to get there, you'll get there. All right, so the next thing I'm gonna go over is building your network. In the welding industry, there's a lot of word of mouth and a lot of using someone else's name to get a job, right? One thing I recommend is when you go to a gas station, you see a rig welder pull up, go over there and talk to them. They like to talk about their job and their career and get advice from them, and then get their phone numbers. Anybody that you work with in the welding industry, you should have their phone numbers and you should save it in your contacts under a special thing. So what I do is I put a little money emoji next to all of my welding contacts. That way if I ever need a job, I just click the money and it spits out all of my welding contacts. It's pretty huge getting out there and getting a list. You got to get your name out there. You have to know people that are doing the work, right? So then you can get the job. And so the best way to start is go down to career fairs, Google phone numbers, get them saved, and start talking to people in the industry. Now, most people in the welding industry will keep the same phone number throughout their entire career. I've had mine since I was 15, and I don't plan on changing it. Now, as far as social media goes, I've had tons of social media apps, and I've deleted all of them. If you get their social media, also people don't check it that often. So if you send them a Facebook message and say, hey, chances of them actually looking at it and it's still being their Facebook, pretty low. So if you get their physical phone number, it's going to be a lot better in the long run. Going alongside that is when you actually do show up to the job site, you put 100% of effort in every day. That way the people around you, they look at you and they remember you and they'll vouch for you in the future. You want to build a friendship with the people that you're close with, and if you do get into a management type role, you always make sure that you're respectful and kind to the people below you, because at the next job, they might be your supervisor. So the next thing is going to be constantly expanding your knowledge base. If you stick with one type of welding, say you're a downhiller, as soon as downhill dries up, you're out of work. The best thing you can do is actually go out there and during any downtime, pick up those extra skills. Learn to TIG, learn to wire weld, learn to uphill, learn to downhill, and get all of those under your belt. The next thing is, just because someone's younger than you or you think that you already know it, always pick up tips and tricks from people in the field. It can be as simple as smoking OLEDs, smoking your test before you cut it so there's less grind work, smoking lines. There's a lot of stuff that throughout your career, if you just pick it up, everything from everybody, and you're open and willing to learn, it'll push you a lot further. So the trade is always evolving. Every few years, something new comes out. I mean, ESAB just released a battery-powered welder. And as long as you go out there and you're constantly inside the industry and keeping up with what people are doing, you're gonna go a lot further versus the person that specializes in a certain thing and they never take the time to learn what's evolving inside of that trade. Now, specializing in a certain trade is not a bad idea. It's just you want to have always fallback and backup plans, right? If you get the base knowledge of everything inside of the industry and then you choose the one that you actually want to do, it's going to get you way further. So say that you enjoy downhill, but you can TIG and you can uphill, then it's a good idea to chase the pipeline industry. And so you're going to be constantly downhill and refining that craft and getting to the top of it, but you always have the backup of being able to go into a refinery and TIG weld or going into a power plant and combo welding. So you're always expanding your network, expanding your skill base, but you still have that one specialty that makes you the most money. There's two types of welders. If you want to basically stay at the bottom of the barrel and not find much success inside of your career, if you live in a small town, you stay at your local welding shop. It's a good way to get your foot in the door, but it shouldn't be the end goal. A lot of welding is traveling, seeing the country. In the long run, that's where you'll find the most success and the most money. And then after you've done that and you've traveled and went around the country and you've specialized and you've got a name for yourself, then you can come back to those small town shops and they pay you for your experience and they pay you for your knowledge. So with traveling, it's not all about the money, right? When an employer looks and they see that this person is willing to go state to chase their career, they're committed and they're putting in the time, it shows that they're not just stagnant in this role and that they're only there because it's the only job in their hometown, right? It means they're dedicated to it and they've been doing it. So as long as you travel around and you get the different experience, say you're working for SpaceX and then you're working for a Google plant, it allows you to have a huge advantage over the competitors. If you go in there and they look at your resume and it says, this guy has traveled around the country, he's worked on all these massive projects, he's done all the different things, and then they look at the other resume and it's the guy that has never moved out of his parents' basement and he's done the same thing in his hometown since he was 18 years old, they're definitely going to pick you. So now say you've done the traveling and you've done work for shops and stuff like that, and now you want to take your welding career to the next level. That's when you're going to go into contract work and freelancing. So if you're looking for that type, if you live in a rural area, consider a Facebook ad or post that reaches out to all the ranchers and the local people and say, hey, I can build fence, I can work on tractors. It does pay a lot of money. You're doing it by yourself. The next thing would be rig welding. That's where you have your own truck, all your own tools, and you get paid contract to go to jobs and work them for a short amount of time. That's the very top of the welding industry is going to be your contract welders. Whether that be going into power plants with just your hood and your hand, which is called single hand work, or if you're going to go into with a more specialized, having your own truck and all your own equipment, that's going to get you basically the most amount of money because they don't have to pay you the entire year. They just pay you when they need you. So you move around, you get paid the 200, 300 grand a year. You're traveling constantly, but you are way more sought after. So another thing going in with this is how do you actually find the jobs to get into? The good thing is we have Google, Indeed, Glassdoor, different companies like this that are just basically job search engines. And so if you go on and you know, okay, I want to be a power plant welder, you look up power plants close by, and then you look at piping contractors that are close by. And if you call one and say, hey, do you service this power plant? If they don't, they'll tell you which company does. So then you can call them and ask if you can get on with them. If you want to get into gas work, you just look up major gas distribution, and then you look up gas welding in that area. So the entire world is on the internet, on Google. You can find it all just by knowing what to look up. So as long as you go out there and you look at piping contractors or structural contractors in this area that's within 20 miles of a facility that you want to get into, chances are they work there, and it's going to be your best way to get your foot in the door. The final thing that I want to talk about is going to be developing your soft skills. So now say you're applying for a welding job. Chances are there's 100 other people that have applied for it. If they're applying for it, chances are they also know how to weld. So what actually sets you apart? I mean, both of you are welders, both of you are applying for the job. So that's going to be your character, your personality, and just overall work ethic and accountability. If you show up on the job site really timid, not trying to get in there and help, showing up late, stuff like that, people are going to remember you, but for the wrong reason. So you want to show up, you want to be liked, have a good time, and then they go, I want to work with that guy on the next job. And so they recommend you in, and it gives you a much better career path than the guy that stays timid and doesn't help out. Now, whether you're in high school or just coming out of college, it's never too late to start into a new career. So all of these things that I've talked about, we actually do here at Western Welding Academy. So from getting the skills, getting the hands-on, teaching accountability, integrity, and work ethic, and also the network. While you're here, you're going to be around 200, 300 other students. You're going to get their phone numbers. We have a massive success rate. So if you have 300 phone numbers. You also have our instructors' numbers who know people inside the industry. They can give you numbers. Finally, we have a career services department which works with hundreds of companies that are looking for you. Western Welding Academy has been voted the #1 trade school in the world year after year. And what sets us apart is we don't simulate the real thing. We do the real thing. So what are you waiting for? Take your first step today. We hope to see you, and apply to weld.com.